Hello, Yana.
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Great. How are
It's
you?
so early in your time. My goodness.
Yeah,
You have a whole day ahead of you.
yeah, exactly. A
A
little bit.
whole day for studying.
Well, it seems like I prefer the evenings for studying, but a little bit
I
in the
know.
daytime.
So, Tom, you said that 23rd. 23rd is actually in 3 days. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's 20th, 21st, 20th. So, the 3 full days for you. So, you're all set, right? You have checked your laptop is working well, is compliant with everything that PMI is requesting, the cameras and all that stuff, right?
I did the
You
check
don't
a long time ago. Nothing's changed, but I'll do it beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, please do. Just check if you don't have firewalls or any other extra protection,
Yeah.
that might prevent you to open the exam. That's very important. So that is
So
right. That's
I
the
guess
trigger.
I was just looking at the output of implement risk responses, and maybe I think it just basically said change change request.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that doesn't necessarily mean integrated change control.
Uh, you said that change request. Well, you can add, so based on the risk response, maybe there is a need for just let me open
Yeah,
that
ITTO doc.
document. Let me look at the document. Yeah, here it is. So the change request is, so we say, okay, so maybe we need to change the plan if in order. So okay, here it is. Implement, right?
Yeah.
Risk responses. So when we implement the risk response, we implement the risk response, and then based on that response, we decide or we determine that actually we need to change the plan. So,
Mm.
for example, we um, uh, we buy those 10 AC units,
Yeah.
and because we buy those 10 AC units, that's how we respond to the risk of, right, of humidity,
Yeah.
right? So, but those 10 AC units will cost us an additional $10,000 to our project. So we need to submit a change request to change our budget.
Mm. I see. Oh, okay. 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 That's well said. Okay. I see. And in the risk register, is there the extra time is already estimated? So the like I how I start off saying the
Yes, it
identified risk.
is in the contingencies.
Okay.
But also, risk is also part of the schedule,
Yeah.
right? Because and of the schedule management and of the cost management, right?
Yeah.
Because you need to account for risk on your project. You need to account for the risk management activities in the project.
Yeah. Instead of having a team member pad certain
Uh-huh.
estimates, we want to identify the risk attached to that
Correct.
reason for any padding. Okay.
Correct.
Or I guess by the book they don't want any padding, right? In estimate estimating activities.
They don't want any padding. No, yeah, no padding, no buffers, no nothing.
If you
They
do the
want to. They
estimating work
say
correctly, the risk identification correctly, you have a
yes, you have to do correct estimations.
mm,
You need to be as close as possible to the estimations.
mhm,
Yeah.
okay. And that's where we had that basis of estimations as an output. I think it came up twice in this. I,
Basis of estimation is everywhere. So, basis of estimations is a document
mhm,
that is it is an auxiliary document to all the estimation processes. So, for example, when we estimate resources, We have basis of estimates, and then we have estimate resources as, let me find it, as a auxiliary document. Where is it? It's here. Yeah, here. Yeah, so here, estimate activity resources. We have basis of estimates, and then we have resource. Uh, we should have resource estimates of the resources. Then we have here the cost. Estimate costs. We have basis of estimates and cost estimates, right? Then in schedule, we have basis of estimates as a document, that's supporting document to duration of estimates, right? It's an
Yeah.
auxiliary document to all of the estimation processes.
Right. And that's basically which estimating processes or tools and techniques you use.
Exactly. Yeah, the methods of estimating. So, what were the methods, the tools, the techniques that we used? What was the range of estimates? How accurate the estimations were? Then, what were the risks that we took into consideration? What were the assumptions? What were the constraints that we considered when we were doing these estimations? So all that is part of the basis of estimates document.
Mhm. Right. Okay. Oh, and the constraints. Okay.
Yeah, the constraints too. Yeah.
I think I had also had a couple questions. I was doing some mock tests last night. I think I ran into a question where uh, it was about leveling resources and the critical path for
hmm
crashing. I'm not sure.
Level resources is different from crashing, right?
Yeah.
So so
Leveling
what?
in
Yeah, go ahead.
sequence, though, right? If project takes longer. Is that what?
What?
Maybe I don't
So
understand it correctly. When I first understood leveling resources, I thought it was like kind of cutting resources or
okay, so let me
using them
just
when they're
do it.
available. Or
Yeah. So when we talk about leveling, so we talk about resource optimization, right?
Mhm.
So let me open like I will just open a new. Um, Let me just do just a new Word document so I can draw something for you. Okay, so when we talk about uh, just one second. Yeah, here. So we have resource
oh, sorry,
optimization,
I'm not
right?
looking
Oh,
at your.
you're not seeing?
No, I just covered it up. Hang on.
Okay, no, it's here. Okay. So resource optimization.
Yeah.
So when we talk about resource optimization, we have resource leveling
Yeah.
and we have resource smoothing.
Yeah.
Resource leveling is when we stretch our resources based on their availability, right? And we do leveling only on activities that are not on the critical path. So for resource leveling, for example, we have day one.
Mm-hmm.
And on day one, we have activity A and activity B, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have N working on activity A for 8 hours and N working on activity B for 8 hours, right? So
Yeah.
N cannot work for 8 hours simultaneously on both activities, right? So we are leveling this effort by having activity A on day one and then having activity B on day two, right? So we just push the activity when N is going to be available to do activity B, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
example, we want N to do an analysis and then we want N also to write the report, right?
Mm-hmm.
So N cannot do the analysis and write the report at the same time. So she will need to do the analysis and then the second day she will write the report,
Mm-hmm.
right? So and that is leveling. But
Okay.
leveling is only when the activities are not on the critical path, right?
Yeah.
When we can when we have the luxury of stretching our resources, right? So when we are not tied with a certain deadline. Smoothing is actually when we have activities on critical path. So what do we do with smoothing? With smoothing, for example, we have the same example. We have N that needs to work on activity A and N needs to work on activity B, right?
Yeah.
But these activities, they're on the critical path. So when we do smoothing, we actually replace N with somebody else. So John will do the activity B because we cannot postpone B for the next day, because if we postpone B for the next day, then our project is going to be delayed. So that's why we will replace N with somebody else.
Mhm.
Okay, is it clear?
It is on the critical path.
Okay, so smoothing is for the activities on the critical path. Yeah. And
Okay.
then we have schedule compression techniques, right?
Okay.
Schedule compression. And schedule compression, when we talk about schedule compression, here we have crashing and fast tracking, right?
Yeah.
So what you need to remember that both crashing and fast tracking, they are done. So we do this schedule compression only on the activities that are on the critical path.
For both?
Okay? Yep.
Okay.
So we don't do crashing or fast tracking on the activities that are not on the critical path, right? Because there is no need. There is no need for us to put our project in at risk. Because, so for example, when we do fast tracking, we put our project at risk because we have two or more activities that are done in parallel, right? And because we have two or more activities that are done in parallel or partial parallel, that means that we need to actually monitor two or more activities that are done simultaneously, and that increases the risk on our project, right?
Mhm.
Whereas crashing is when we add resources, right?
Are we assuming the, oh, wait a second. How does float come into this? Is float not an option? Is float used up at that time?
Float is actually considered, so this is additional to the float.
Okay.
Float is considered when we do planning, right? When we are creating the schedule, we are actually looking at possibilities for float,
Mhm.
right? We are, so here. Um, you see here leads and lags. Am I sharing? No.
Um,
So in develop schedule, um, right, all these tools and techniques are used. The critical path method, right? So we see what is the critical path on our project. We do resource optimization, right? That is the leveling and smoothing, right? We decide if we can do leveling or smoothing of our activities and based on the activity resources.
yeah.
Because when we do resource optimization, we actually need to look at the resource calendars, right?
Mm.
And based on the resource calendars, we determine which resources are available for our project,
Right.
right?
Oh, okay.
Okay?
So that's both human resources and physical resources.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Human resources and
Per
physical
calendar.
resources.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
just let me know. I mean, just send me an email if you
yeah,
have
yeah,
any
I'll let you know.
questions. Yeah,
Yeah, for
just
sure.
yeah, for any, if you're stuck with a question, or if you remember something that you wanted to discuss but you just completely forgot about it, just send me an email. I will,
Oh,
I'll
that's nice of you.
gladly.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
thanks so
I will.
much, Deanna. I appreciate your help this week.
No problem. Okay, good.
Well,
Just
thanks so much. I feel much better after our coaching sessions.
I'm very glad. I'm
Yeah.
really glad, and I
Mm.
think you are there. You're ready. Just
Oh, great.
do the final couple of days, and do questions. And yeah, again,
Yeah,
just let me know if I
absolutely.
can help
Okay.
a little bit further. Yeah.
Sounds great. All
Yeah.
right. Thanks so
So
much.
have a great day, Tom. Yeah, no
All right.
problem.
You too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.